Alright then guys, welcome back to the Eagermans. Now, before we get into the video, alright, just a quick update for you all. The Eagerman's main lifestyle optimization supplement is literally this close to becoming a reality. Okay, the formulator sent me the formulation pack today. I saw it when I was in the gym. The pack basically had all the ingredients the supplement will consist of. Okay, things like ashwagandha, which supports your muscle function and energy levels, right? Shilajit, which enhances your physical performance and vitality. Fenugreek seed, which supports testosterone. Zinc, which grows your testosterone and maintains it, right? Bioperin, which helps your body absorb all these ingredients and helps you make the most out of the supplement. And there are many more other ingredients, okay, that'll contribute to overall male lifestyle optimization. So we're getting there slowly but surely, okay? And these are herbs I'm taking at the moment separately, so I'm just going to put them all in one formula. But anyway, let's get into today's topic of discussion, okay, which is this idea of self-made men versus those who grew up with money, okay? And the difference between those who have to do it all on their own versus those who had things handed to them, okay? And look, let me start off by saying, okay, that let me just make this clear that it's not about hating on anyone who was born into money, okay? If your father is a millionaire and he's handed you the best start in life, that's good for you, right? But what we're talking about here in this video is the difference in mindset, right? And the character of those who build their life on their own 2 feet versus those who get a pot to piss in from the get-go, because look, when you're self-made, you operate with a different energy in life. Like, you know what it's like to feel the pressure of rent being due, right? Of juggling a job whilst trying to build something bigger on the side. And like, the sting of, rejection, the weight of failure, and the grind of teaching yourself skills that will give you the upper hand in life, right? And I feel like those who are born with a pot to piss in often end up missing out on these things, right? Like, when everything is handed to you, things are a little different because you skip that process, right? You get the result, you get the car, the lifestyle, even get a family business handed out to you on your palms, but you miss out on that forging of the man himself part, right? The process where you have to carve yourself out of a stone, like a boy is born, but a man is built, and he's built through pain, struggles, right? Loneliness, failures, rejections, and that's like the anvil and hammer that forges masculinity, right? Whereas when you grow up cushioned by wealth, unless your father intentionally drags you through the fire, right, you don't get that same sharpening, right? You might end up with the material things, but inside you're brittle, right? You're soft, and you'll fold under life challenges, right? And of course, that's not the case for every man, right? That's built into wealth. Like, there are plenty of anomalies where they turned out to be stronger and better than their father, but I'm talking in general terms, right? Because I've seen it in front of my very own eyes. Like, going back to my point, think about starting a business from scratch, right? You're working nights and weekends, right? Maybe doing overtime in your job, right? Then coming home to build your dream, right? You're figuring things out. You're figuring out marketing. You're learning how to sell. You're teaching yourself skills that other people pay consultants for, right? You're on calls with clients in between shifts, right? You're broke, exhausted, you're fucking tired, you're stressed, but you keep pushing, right? And that forges your character. Like, that life is not for the weak, you need a crazy work ethic and an even crazier faith in yourself to keep going. Like, that's where character is built, now if you compare that to the guy whose dad gives him $500,000 to start something, right? He hires people to do all the thinking, right? All the building, all the grinding, and maybe the business does well, maybe it doesn't, you don't know, but he never had to bleed for it. Like, he never felt the fire, and you can tell by looking in his eyes, like, his mindset is different, his masculinity is untested, it hasn't been tested by life's challenges. And there's men out there building from scratch, right? The ones with no connections, right? No inheritance, no mentors, spoon feeding them. Like, the game they're playing on their own. And the ones who weren't born into the right family, who didn't have an uncle in high places pulling strings, are figuring things out on their own, right? And if that's you, like, you're walking the hardest path, right? And that's exactly why you'll come out stronger, right? Life is sharpening you in ways that money could never. Like every rejection, every lonely phase that you go through, every time you pick yourself up off the floor, like that's a layer of steel being added to your character. It just makes you a better man, a stronger man. And I'm not just saying this from the outside. Like, I'll give you my own example, right? I'm building the Eagermans from scratch at the moment. I come home from work. I come from a middle class family, in fact, right? And I don't have a business background. Like, no one in my family is an entrepreneur, right? There's no roadmap for me, but I've got ambition, hunger, and a vision. And I'm learning as I go, right? I'm making mistakes a lot, right? I'm failing and getting back up again. That's exactly what makes it mine, right? There's a quote you've probably heard along the lines of how hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times, right? And that cycle, guys, it plays out over and over. Like, the men who grow up with everything handed to them, most of the time they become the weak men in that cycle, right? They never faced the hard times, so they never developed the strength. But we are the strong men, right? Being forged by the hard times, and we are the ones who will create good times for the future, right? And look, some people do achieve success not because of their competence, but because of their dad's connections, or his power. And that's the way of the world, okay? It's not something you should be complaining or crying about, right? It happens. Is that unfair? Yes. But is that the reality? Yes, it fucking is, right? So accept it and move on. But if you look closely, right, at these type of men, you'll notice something, which is their character. It's different, right? It hasn't been sharpened by life. Their confidence isn't built and sort of tested. Like, it's built on borrowed resources. And when real challenges come, the lack of foundation shows. It shows. So the only point I'm trying to make in this video, guys, is being self-made isn't just about money, okay? It's about the man you become in the process, okay? Building something from scratch, grinding through failures, right? Standing tall without a safety net, like that transforms you. And that gives you a depth of masculinity and resilience that money can never buy. It never will buy, okay? So, if you're someone out there who's grinding with nothing but your ambition and your work ethic, just remember, you're not behind. You're not unlucky. You're being forged into the kind of man this world desperately needs, okay? And you are a positive force, okay? A force that the world needs, right? Because at the end of the day, the harder you try, the higher your chances of succeeding, right? And in that process, you become a fucking beast, a monster, all my friends, right, and myself, like, we come from middle class, not even poor families, right? But we're out here building something of our own, and I have no doubts we will get there, and I can see ourselves developing as well. Like, we're so much different now than we were back in school days, right? That maturity has kicked in. Like, life has kicked us in the butt, and we've realized the importance of being mature and fucking just going out there and doing something that we can look back and be proud of. So if that's you, I'm wishing you all the best of luck, and I hope you make it one day.